Probably the most important thing is that we change the way we think about the brain. Historically, we've concentrated on the cerebral hemispheres, what we think of as being the brain. The work from people like, as I was talking about, Susanna, something simple like counting neurons. You think, well, does it really matter if there's 100 billion, 87 billion? But the thing is that it's not the number, but where they are. We've assumed that they're all in the cerebral hemispheres, but no, 80%, according to Susanna, are in the cerebellum. Now, why have we ignored the cerebellum that has all these neurons and focused on the cerebral hemispheres? Now we need to look another way. And for the past 20 years, I've been saying the cerebellum is the computer that drives the brain. Now we've got evidence that that assumption was correct. We need to look at how the brain works, how it grows, develops, and I focused on saying we go through a Paleolithic stage, we go through a Neolithic stage, we're now going through a technological stage. The brain has to go through those stages, and each one has a particular thing that's dominant. So when we were hunter-gatherers, we had to be hyper-vigilant. We had to pay attention to what was happening around us. Well, when we're going through that stage in growth and development, you put that child into a classroom, and because they're not constantly looking at the teacher, they're being what they say is distracted. They're not. They're being hyper-vigilant. They're protecting themselves. If we understand what they're doing, then we can learn how to perhaps lessen it, help the part of the brain that should be maturing, controlling it, to work better. Well, the thing is, again, historically, we've dealt with the brain from a psychological point of view. And we have, educational clinical psychologists looking at our children. That's great, except for the fact the DSM, it's been classed as scientifically meaningless, unfit for purpose. So why are we still using it? What we need to look at is not how can I get this child to fit into this box, this box, this box. What is actually causing the problem? What's the underlying neurology? And if we stop thinking about things like ADD, dyslexia, dyspraxia as being conditions and think of them as symptoms, signs and symptoms, that the brain isn't functioning, isn't growing, developing as it should do, then we get away, we can find the underlying cause and apply the appropriate treatment. I love what I do and I'm officially retired, but I still work 7 days a week from, 6:30 when I get up through till 6:30, 7 o'clock at night, because it is my hobby. I'm retired, but it's a passion. I want to know how this thing works because, all the simple things we do, like I was saying about we live in the past because we experience things and we think it's now, but it happened milliseconds ago. We create a virtual reality. We have our own perception of the world, our Umwelt. So, it's just, to me, it's thrilling. And when somebody discovers something else, or I discover something, then, the pleasure within is just incredible.